Hey everybody, and we've got a special treat for you today. I've managed to be in Pahrump, Nevada, and spending some time with some dear friends of ours, Greg and Donna. But also, I haven't seen my friend Bob for almost a year,
Yeah.
maybe. And as you know, you may know him, Bob Wells of Cheap RV Living, but more importantly, in many aspects, would be Homes on Wheels Alliance. And as we talk, all of the information that we talk about will be in links below. And if you remember on my walk across America, I was really trying to build awareness for Homes on Wheels Alliance. So today we're just going to have a conversation and catch up, uh, and it's just going to be just this freestyle van life. Whatever happens, happens. So, but I wanted to find out a little bit from you, Bob, about what's been going on since I've been gone. I never planned when we spoke last of walking across country in the middle of a plague.
Yeah.
I, what the heck, you
Yeah.
know? And same thing as I didn't think that you had to entertain the idea of what to do with the RTR, the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, or Homes on Wheels Alliance, and all of the things that Homes on Wheels Alliance does. And that's what I'm really curious about. So, folks, this is really more probably for you, but for my own edification. I'd like to catch up and find out what's going on with Homes on Wheels Alliance with COVID, and how does that affect the community from your perspective?
Well, specifically on Homes and Wheels Alliance, one of the things we do that is, I think, one of the best are the caravans.
Right.
So that if people are just starting out in the new life, they can leave their homes and go and be with a group of people. And they feel so much safer in that environment. And so we had to stop the caravans, the physical gatherings, because, people couldn't come from all across the country together in a small group and then spread the disease. So we couldn't risk that. So we have canceled the in-person gatherings, but that forced us into a different direction, which is we do still have virtual gatherings. So in other words, we do it through Meetup. Meetup.com is a website, and they put people together, and we use Zoom meetings. And Zoom has kind of exploded here at this time, because if you can't meet face to face or in large groups, then meeting virtually by computer works really well. So we switched the caravans to Zoom meetings and virtual campfires on the Zoom meetings, and we've also started teaching classes on Zoom meetings. So Howa has really kind of redirected there. We're still looking forward, most of all, to gathering together face to face. But a lot of us are older, and a lot of us have, underlying issues, and so we really don't want to be responsible for spreading a super spreader event, or even, spreading it. So at this point, we're still waiting for an all clear before we start going back to physical caravans. Really looking forward to it. I think it's one of the best things we've done.
Yeah.
Is the physical caravans, but it's still on the horizon. We're still right now. We have right over here. We have 2 minivans being built and being distributed to people, to recipients who were in need of. They were being forced out of their home. They were on the edge of being homeless, literally homeless, and so people provided minivans through different directions, and we are turning over to this 2 in October, and then 2 more in November. So we're turning over 4 minivans in the next 2 months.
So you have 2 vans currently that you are working on. Now you seem to focus now versus when you initially started. And this is just more of a question. I mean, you had full-size vans, you had a schoolie, and you had a whole host of carpenters, electricians, and all of these people. And it seems like you've moved into kind of maybe not a cookie cutter, but something that seems to fit the larger population of people who need it, which would be the minivans. Is that correct?
Well, it's not intentionally. Minivans are the best bang for the buck. You get more newer, better vehicle in a minivan than anything else. But someone is working right now on rebuilding a travel trailer, and when we get it, we will donate it. If someone donated the schoolie. If someone donated the schoolie tomorrow, we would pass it along. Some of those things are more limited. So in other words, if you have a travel trailer, you already have to have a tow vehicle that can tow it.
Right.
So that narrows it down. Almost anyone can live in a minivan, but not everyone can live in a schoolie. Schoolies cost more to operate, but schoolies, whenever you have a problem, the problem is going to be much more expensive. You need more of an emergency fund. Working on them is difficult, and you have to be able to pay for someone to work on them. And so the simple fact is that minivans are, man, they are the best bang for the buck, which is, and full-size vans have become very difficult to find. They're costing a whole lot more money. 5,000 will still buy you. I used to say 3,000. It won't anymore. 3,000 will not buy you a really great minivan. 5,000 will still buy you a great minivan. Finding a $5,000 full-size van of any kind is kind of a chore.
Right.
So yeah, that's just ease is why we do the minivans. But we'll do anything. Someone wants to donate a trailer or a schoolie, or as long as it's in good shape.
Yeah. So you accept vehicles, and you also accept cash donations?
Oh, primarily, yeah. That's it's cash is king. And if we have cash, then we can do a lot. We can do a lot with cash. So either way, we've had a couple of donors. We Rolled has donated 2 of their cargo trailers to us. So. Right. And we auctioned those. We did the sweepstakes with those,
right?
And so we turned that into cash, and then we buy. So we might get 5,000 for that sweepstakes, and then we'll turn around and buy a minivan and give it to someone.
Now, when someone wants a minivan, and you do a vetting process, so you can't just walk up and say, "Oh, I want one." There's a very limited number of vans versus the amount of people who need them.
Yes.
These are kind of some hard questions, but I think people are curious about that. Is what happens is there a vetting process to stop from somebody saying, "Oh, well, I want to do this," and then 3 months later they go, "Yeah, it's not what I want," and take the van and sell it and do something else? Is that just kind of luck of the draw, or do you actually have some kind of a system to make sure that that support that you have, those resources, are recycled back into the community?
Right, we do. We've actually, that's something we've and it's evolved over a period of time. Every time we learn something, because this is all brand new to us too. Right. No, what we do is the people have to demonstrate an income that they can support themselves in the minivan. So I think they need to have between $700 and $1,000 a month. That way we know that they're not going to get the minivan and then crash and burn. They have to have an income they can live on. They can't have too much money that they could just go out and buy something. So they have to demonstrate, they have to send us the documents that show us that they don't have all that money. And then finally, when we turn over the minivan to them, we maintain a lien on it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We do. We don't hand a title over to anyone and they walk away with it. We give them a lien, and we have a lien on it, and we sit down and work with them on their income, and we say, we need you to pay in an X amount of dollars. It can be higher, it can be low, based upon their income. And then we need you to pay it in, and that is your money. It will go into your emergency fund. And then once you have had it a certain amount of time and paid in a certain amount of money, we'll then sign the title over to you and give you the money you paid in.
Right.
So we're not taking that money. We're holding it for you. And if you have a breakdown, then maybe that money will come out of there, or maybe we'll just pay ourselves. Depends on the situation. So no, even that is controlled, and we have a contract that they sign. If you have to live in it a certain length of time, and if you're not going to be living in it anymore, then you have to return it to us, because we have a lien on the title. They can't give it to someone else.
Okay, good.
It's locked in.
it's like anything when you apply for any kind of either government assistance or anything,
Right.
you have to show that there's a certain not only financial responsibility to it, but a certain amount uh, of other things that just that you can ensure that people who really have that need are sincerely those needs are being met to those people.
Well, we have two obligations. We have an obligation to the person we're serving.
Right.
That's our first and foremost obligation, to do the best we can by them. And so that's why we make sure they have enough money coming in and we support them afterwards. Right now, we have what we're doing is when someone comes in to get the minivan, we have a mentor with them for 2 weeks. And we ran into this, that we didn't set up a mentoring program and they came in and they were lost. And so, we're learning from our mistakes. We've made mistakes.
Yeah.
So there's a mentor right there with them now. And they're going through, how do you find campsites? How do you go to the bathroom? All the questions. They're leaving with the minivan and knowledge.
Right.
But we also have a second obligation, and that is to the person who has donated the minivan. If someone gives us a minivan and says, I want this to go to someone in need, I want them, and this is understood unless
Sure.
they tell us differently, I want it to go someone in need who deserves it, who it's good, and that they're going to live in it. They're not just going to turn around and sell it and buy drugs.
Right.
That's a kind of a given. We cannot allow that to happen.
Right.
Or they're not just going to go out and, we have an obligation to both the recipient and to the donor. And legally, we have an obligation to the donor to make sure that their wishes are fulfilled. And so we've tried to find a system that balances both those needs, that
Right.
we know we are serving both. If you are so kind to give us that minivan to give to someone else, we want to make sure that when all is said and done, you are satisfied with our behavior and who we've given it to.
Now, have you gotten to a point where you have been able to, or have you done any research on contacting manufacturers or car dealerships or anyone? Is that a viable thing in the future where you might be able to partner with someone like that?
Yes, that is ultimately the goal, and that's where it's going to start really making a big impact, is once we do that. What happens is this: we are brand new.
Right.
We as a 501c3, we're brand new. We're not even 3 years old. And most corporations and big lenders, not lenders, but charitable organizations, those who serve 501c3s, they're not even going to talk to you in the first year. They're not going to talk to you in the first year. You're brand new. You got to prove yourself. It's the same thing. We have to prove ourselves to the donors that we're going to treat your money the way you want to treat it.
Right.
We're responsible. So the first year, you're not even, they won't even talk to you.
Right.
The second year, maybe, and we're just in our second year. We're not even 2 years old yet.
Right.
And so in the third year, then you can start. You've got a track record. You've proven yourselves. Then you can start going to the big guys, where the big money is,
Yeah.
and then approach them and say, "Here, we've got a track record. Let me show you how we're doing this and how we're serving, and how we will be responsible with your money."
Right.
Then you can do that.
You've spoken on your channel, which is a cheap RV living, and there'll be a link below, but also in Homes on Wheels Alliance, about the idea that of purchasing land. And this is it sounds like it's an important dream of yours. Is that a good assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly to cover the emergency fund, two amazing people donated $10,000 each, so we have $20,000, and we have an emergency fund. So if you're on the road and you have an emergency and you're a nomad, you can apply, and we've helped a lot of people. And normally what we do is we put the money straight in. You need a set of tires, you'll go to a tire shop, and we will contact the tire shop, and we'll pay them. They'll put the tires on. So that's the way we try to do it. But it's an amazing thing for the community. And then since then, of course, even 20,000 will go quickly. But people have put in small donations ever since, and it's going down, but it's not a flood.